Today we're in Nagasaki, a city in Kyushu in southern Japan. We'll be strolling through Dejima Wharf by the sea, Chinatown, visiting the Peace Park and Museum, and going up a ropeway to see one of Japan's top 3 night views as it gets dark, and finishing the day with conveyor belt sushi. Along the way, I'll show you how to get around the city on the tram, and at the end, I'll mention what else there is to do if you want to spend longer here. We're on a day trip from Fukuoka. Nagasaki looks quite remote on the map, but with the new Shinkansen line, you can get there in just under an hour and a half. I really enjoyed going on the Kamome, the new Shinkansen, and looking at the scenery on the way. There's a video all about that on my channel, and new Japan travel videos every week on Thursdays if you want to subscribe. We're in Nagasaki. I'm here for the first time, so I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like here. There is enough to do in Nagasaki to stay here for longer than a day. We're just doing a day trip from Fukuoka because we don't really have more time to spend here, but we wanted to see what it was like. We will be coming back to Nagasaki Prefecture, but this is our only time in Nagasaki City. Nagasaki Prefecture is quite big and it's kind of on a peninsula with lots of sort of fingers that go out into the sea, so it can take quite a long time to get around it if you're not on the Shinkansen line. We've only just come out of Nagasaki Station and already it feels a lot more relaxed. It's very spacious around here. I'm guessing this section's all new when they built the Shinkansen station in 2022. This is more like how I remember Fukuoka being, but Fukuoka seemed a lot more busy this time, especially around Hakata Station. If you don't like crowds, I definitely recommend visiting other places around Japan outside of the usual Tokyo, Kyoto and Osaka. You can get a taste of Japan in a much more relaxed way. You can still visit temples and shrines, try Japanese food. There are lots of historic places and regional sites and attractions, and you can have a much more chilled experience. Looking out the window on the train on the way here, it looks a lot more rural than a lot of train journeys we've done. It was quite green and we went through quite a lot of farming fields or rice fields, but actually that was more the case on the express train. The views were better on the express train. When we went on the Shinkansen, it goes through a lot more tunnels and towns, and we started to get views of the sea. We just spotted the harbour and the sea, and what is this giant orange? It's a rooftop park. It looks more like a deck. We're right by the sea here, and looking at the water in this river, it looks surprisingly clear. That's not what you'd expect in an estuary, or when you think of something like the Thames, it's not this colour at all. We've got to Dejima Wharf. It took us about 5 or 10 minutes to walk here from the station, and this is an area where Dutch people lived at one time, and I'm thinking there's also a fish market. Looks like you can get some chirashi sushi rice balls. I really like the design of these flags. There are lots of places to eat along the wharf, especially fresh seafood. Right now it's a Tuesday about midday at the end of February, and it's really quiet here. It's quite nice after being in the busy city in Fukuoka. It's an old ship. Nagasaki's a historic port city called the Kanko Maru. This is the seaside park. It's so spacious. At this time of year in Japan, the grass never looks very green. I think after rainy season it starts to green up. I'm thinking up there is the ropeway that we're going to go up later that has one of the top 3 views of Japan. It's surprising how clear the water is here in the harbour. Look how you can see that so well. It looks so tropical at the seaside park. You do see tropical looking palm trees like this around Kyushu. It's got to be Fanta grape, my favourite. Across there is Nagasaki Prefectural Art Museum, really close to the harbour. If you want to visit Glover Garden or Glover Garden and the main part of Dejima, it's not far from here. A lot of the city is walkable. I'm no expert on history, but Nagasaki is one of the main ports where foreign merchants visited after the period where Japan was closed to foreign countries in the 1800s. Glover Garden has picturesque, historic Western-style houses where they lived. It's similar to Yokohama and Kobe, which also have Chinatowns, and Hakodate in Hokkaido, which has parts that don't look so much like Japan. And we're coming up to Chinatown. See all the lanterns. That was a really short walk from the harbour. Very recently it was Chinese New Year. It looks like they're dismantling all the festival stuff. We just saw a truck going past with some parts of a dragon in it. Party's over now. And over there there's all the animals of the lunar zodiac. Looks nice across there with all the lanterns. Nagasaki's known for the Lantern Festival. It's a really popular event. This gate's so ornate. This must look nice at night. Here's a poster for the Lantern Festival. It was earlier in February. It actually finished 3 days ago. We just missed it. We're just taking a walk down this covered shotengai trying to find something for lunch. This shotengai is actually really big. We've walked down a road on the side of it and it just keeps going on. Up here we've got a slope gallery in Nagasaki. It's just a selection of different slopes. We're at our favourite cocoa curry. I really wanted to eat something more authentic and local in Nagasaki, but when you're a vegetarian it can be really hard to find options in different places, especially less touristy cities. Another advantage of being in a quieter place like Nagasaki was we managed to get these cocoa curry cat key rings, which were sold out everywhere we went in Tokyo. There's a separate video about them and all about these cute cat mascots. Now we're taking the tram over to the Peace Park. The tram is 140 yen per trip no matter how far you're going. You can use your Suica card or you can pay by cash, or if you'll be taking a lot of tram rides you can get a one-day pass for 500 yen. You can't buy that on board the tram, but you can buy it at hotels and information centres, places like that. And make sure you get the right one because there's more than one line. I would have filmed a bit more on the tram, but a massive tour group got on and filled up the whole tram. We couldn't come to Nagasaki without acknowledging this part of its history. Here's the admission fees for the Peace Museum. They keep the prices really low so everyone can go. The entrance is a spiral going round as you go down, and it's got years on the walls to take you back in time as you go round. There's a vending machine for tickets. All the descriptions are in English as well as Japanese, so you can understand everything. Well, we just looked around the Peace Museum in Nagasaki, and I feel like anything I say will not do justice to the gravity of the subject matter, but the museum is really well done. It is obviously really horrifying, and I did think, should I be including this in my video? Is it appropriate to be filming here? But at the start of the museum it said, please do not forget, please tell others. So I think we should remember what happened. The museum is really good, just like the one in Hiroshima as well. Both not a fun place to visit, not an easy place to visit, but they're very well done. It's interesting to see photos from the time together with artifacts. Really is horrifying. There are some quite distressing pictures in there, but I think they need to be so people remember. And the last section is about nuclear weapons today and the situation as it is today, which is also pretty terrifying. I wish more people could see it though. A stroll around the Peace Park is the perfect way to reflect after looking around the museum. So this is the hypocenter of exactly where the bomb was dropped. This is the famous statue you see in all the pictures. It's actually a lot larger in real life than I thought it was. And there's quite a few other statues here too. Nagasaki's surrounded by mountains and the Peace Park's quite high up, so there are escalators. Or you can take the stairs if you want to. It's a special escalator with a flat bit in the middle. We've just taken the tram over to Takaramachi to go towards the Ropeway. I think the tram is a pretty good way of getting around the city. It's cheap and it's quicker to just hop on the tram rather than going down the steps and through all the tunnels to get on a metro. Pretty good, although that was really crowded in that one. We think you had to go out the front to exit the tram, so I had to push through a huge crowd of people to get off. Now we're walking to the start of the Ropeway, which should be about a 15-minute walk. The start of the Ropeway is called Fuchi Shrine Station. It's not that close to any of the stations or tram stops in Nagasaki, so you do have to do a bit of a walk. They do have a free shuttle bus in the evening that goes from, I think, about 6 hotels in Nagasaki, but you do have to reserve it in advance. And when we looked earlier this afternoon, it was fully booked up. So if you want to use that, check it out before you go. And if you can see the wires in the distance, I think that's the Ropeway we're going to. Here's the shrine, which is near the start of the Ropeway. There's the sign, Fuchi Jinja Station. I'm not sure if this is the way you're supposed to go in, but this was assigned to the parking at least, so we must be able to get there this way. So this is Fuchi Jinja Shrine, and it seems like the Ropeway station is part of the shrine. It's an unusual arrangement. Beware of wild boars. Are they going to go on the ropeway as well? A gentle start.
Walk around the trip, right?
Yes. I don't know how long it takes to walk down, but let's go round trip.
Please enjoy your 1,100-meter long, 5-minute trip through the sky to the 333-meter peak of Mount Inasayama.
We've just come up the ropeway, and there's also a slope car that you can use to come up the mountain. It's a slope car that goes down to Inasayama Park, which has a small zoo with monkeys and deer. You can just see some fairy lights twinkling in the walkway, and in the evening it's lit up different colours. That looks nice. 7,000 LEDs. And here we are, the view from Mount Inasayama. This is one of Japan's top 3 night views at night, and in 2021 they said it was one of the top views along with Monaco and somewhere else. The city is such an interesting shape, how you can see all the houses going between the mountains. They said the height of this ropeway is the height of Tokyo Tower. We're at the cafe at the observatory waiting for it to get dark. As time's gone on, it's kind of filled up with people. We're like the waiting for sunset club. It's starting to get dark. We can see some lights coming on outside. I think in the distance over there, that might be Mount Unzen, where we'll be going in a couple of days, right in the distance. Look how the mountain's completely covered with trees. There are so many mountains like this in Japan, and every inch of usable land has been built on with houses in the city, and then you've got mountains like this that are just wild. It's quite cold and windy up here. We're going to come back out once it's got dark. Here we are, the lights are starting to twinkle now. See all the cars going past, all the buildings. Nagasaki glowing below us. So if you came up in the complete darkness, you wouldn't be able to see all the mountains in the distance and all those different layers of scenery. So I think we've had the best of both worlds. This observation deck has a 360-degree view all round. It's actually not as busy here as I expected. When I think of when we went to one of the top 3 night views in Hakodate, that was full of people. It was so crowded, but that was peak snow festival season. And this is the end of February. So now we're looking away from the city. These towers really look like they're glowing. If it's too cold or windy for you, you can also see the view from the inside. And on the way back, now it's dark, we can get the full effect of the light tunnel. So that was one of Japan's top 3 night views and one of the top 3 night views in the world, along with Shanghai and Monaco. I think I liked it just as much during the daytime as in the nighttime because you could see all the mountains and trees better. It got a lot busier as it got towards nighttime. Obviously a lot of people want to see the night view, but overall it was quieter than I expected at this time of year. It is the end of February, so it's not peak time. It's open till 10 p.m. if you want to come up after dinner and see the night view. Once you're up there, there's not a whole lot. There is a cafe though if you want to stake it out and wait for sunset like we did. There's where we were, right up there. Looks high up now. That's the height of Tokyo Tower. If you need an emergency umbrella, you can always get one from a convenience store, and convenience stores are everywhere. This one was 700 yen. And some hotels lend you umbrellas as well. We're out for Conveyor sushi. It's 8 p.m. now, and the last train back from Nagasaki to Fukuoka is at 10 past 10, so fingers crossed it'll be okay. We're just waiting for a table. It will definitely be okay. This place was the same system as a lot of conveyor belt sushi places, where you go in and instead of asking for a table from a person, they've got a touch screen to do that, and it seems like it's almost never in English, so you have to do a bit of guessing or use Google Translate on your phone. Usually this involves saying how many people are in your party, and it'll give you a ticket, like this one with a number on, and sometimes they have a screen that'll display the numbers when your table's ready. But at this one, they called it out over an announcement. That was like a Japanese listening test. When we took this ticket, it has a number on it, and the number was called out by an automatic voice announcement, so I was listening really carefully to try and hear our number. I did get it in the end. 293. At this one, we also had to select our favourite animal from a selection. So when your table's ready and they call out your number, you go up to the booth and you have to tap your animal to prove it's your number, and then it tells you which number table to go to, which is this other receipt here. Penguin.
22.
22. Oh, there's the numbers down there. This is Sushi Wakatake Maru, a chain that seems to have more branches around Kyushu. Honestly, most conveyor belt sushi restaurants in Japan are quite similar, so don't feel you have to stick to ones you've heard of or ones you've seen online, or well-known chains like Kura Sushi and Sushiro. They're all pretty cheap, and many have touchscreens for ordering. You can usually change the language to English, and if not, they have pictures. I just saw the trains are like different shinkansen. That's exciting. Phil's got a beer and I've got a lemon sour. The alcoholic drinks options are a bit different in Japan usually. Often there'll be beers, sometimes sake, sometimes shochu, and sometimes highballs. And lemon sour is almost always on the menu. It's shochu, soda and lemon, and it tastes really nice. You have to press the button to send it back. Yeah. Bye bye.
Didn't expect that to happen.
No, I didn't realise that would open up. Oh, that automatically opens and closes with the belt.
Did not expect that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what have we got here?
We've got salmon, we've got tuna, and I believe that's albacore tuna. Well, it could be amberjack. I've forgotten what I've ordered.
Start going crazy with the ordering. There's the edamame, that's a staple. And here's my rolls. I've got pickled radish, a shinko roll, and the classic kappamaki cucumber roll. Looks like it's got some sesames in too. That's good. What's this one? Can you remember?
Sea bream, I think.
Sea bream.
We've actually got a really limited set available still.
Quite a lot of things are sold out.
Yeah, loads of the stuff is sold out. So basically tuna, salmon, and a couple of other little bits.
The classics.
Still good.
I've got an inari pocket. The tofu on these is always really sweet. Here we've got some pickled ginger. There's the hot water tap for green tea, soy sauce, and this will be the green tea powder, the matcha. Here's my green tea. This is also a normal thing that you get at most conveyor belt sushi restaurants, and it's free. Cheers. Kanpai. What have you got?
Tuna and albacore.
Sometimes places in Japan can be a bit tricky to find because not everything's on street level, and this is something we haven't really had a problem with for a while until today. This sushi restaurant was quite tricky. We had it on Google Maps and we were walking around this block a couple of times before we realised where it was. So here's the Shotengai, the covered shopping street that we were walking along, and we couldn't see the sushi restaurant anywhere until we realised it's up there. See the pictures of the sushi. So to get in, you have to go up this escalator and the entrance is upstairs.
But no other sign for anyone. Well, actually, now I say that, there is a sign right there.
Oh yeah, but we were walking the other way, so we didn't see that. The flashing sign with pictures of sushi on. Oh, and there's a little bullet train. The bill was 2,750 yen, which is normal for Japan, but seems unbelievably cheap compared to the UK or the USA. People who live in Japan often say that cheap sushi places aren't good, but compared to sushi outside Japan, the quality is excellent even at cheap places like this. In particular, the way the rice is cooked, how fresh it is, and the thickness and quality of the cuts of fish. So that was our day in Nagasaki. I didn't expect we'd be going home so late, but it looks like we're going to make it to the last train of the day at 10:10. Phew. So there are lots more things to do here if you want to spend more time in Nagasaki. A lot of people did tell me it's worth spending more time here. The major things are Gankanjima, which is an abandoned island that you can take a boat trip out to. If you take that trip, it does take up most of your afternoon though, so you do need to make sure you've got enough time for that. You could spend more time looking around Chinatown, and there's also Glover Garden or Glover Garden, which is where a lot of Western people had their houses. We decided to skip that because we see a lot of Western houses in everyday life, and it's easier for us to go to Europe and see things like that. But that is also a really popular place to go. And there's some other things outside Nagasaki City that you can take a trip to. Or there's, I never know how to say this, Huitenbosch or Huitenbo, the Dutch theme park. That's really popular. You can go to Nagasaki Biopark, which is where you can see all the guinea pigs go over the bridge, like you've probably seen in videos online. That looks really cute. There's also a penguin park, which has the most species of penguins of anywhere in the world, so you can also take a trip to that. So lots to do in Nagasaki. It's a really interesting city because it was open to foreigners at the port when a lot of Japan stayed closed. It's got a lot of foreign influence. Feels a little bit like Kobe and Yokohama and Hakodate in that way. Yeah, interesting place to come. And even though it's so remote, I hope more people will visit. Now we've got the new Shinkansen line, it's not so far away.